Hello, I'm just showing you what my greens are looking like at the moment. They're looking beautiful. That chard self-sowed, that's an unusual chard. And I've got another purple cauliflower there, I haven't picked yet. Anyways, lately I've been preparing my soil for planting of my summer vegetables, okay? Or vegetables that are frost tender that I can't grow in the wintertime, like tomatoes and sweet bell peppers and zucchinis and beans, okay? Anyway, so in another video where I showed you a tour of my vegetable garden, I showed you guys how I build beautiful soil easily. Like, I kind of basically explained what I do, okay? But I was going to just elaborate a bit more on that today and just show you what the soil looks like when it's ready to plant in, okay? So basically I use 4 main sources of material to add for natural fertilizer to my soil, and that is all my vegetable scraps, okay? Lucerne hay, or in America you'd call it alfalfa, manure from the horse next door, and wood chips, okay? Wood chips with all the leaves and everything. And now, some people say, you can't dig wood chips into the soil because it uses up too much, it robs the soil of the nitrogen, and then the plants don't get the nitrogen they need to grow. But I've never had an issue with digging wood chips into my soil, okay, because the wood chips are always accompanied by the manure and the lucerne hay or the vegetable scraps, which are super high in nitrogen, okay? So there's plenty of nitrogen in the soil, and the wood chips, there isn't that many wood chips in the soil, so there's just enough to add good nutrition when they're broken down, and when they're in the soil they break down a lot faster, okay, because they're always getting moisture watered when they're in the soil. Whereas if they're sitting in a pile like over there, I don't know if you can see that pile of wood chips, okay, because we have a really low rainfall here, the wood chips take forever to break down if they're sitting in a pile. So, but like I said, if they're sitting in the soil, they break down really quickly with all the moisture and the manure and all the hay and the worms and the microorganisms, okay, to break them down. And so anyway, so generally I use just pure food scraps. Like I'll find a gut. Oh, I'll show you. I also just want to say, if I didn't have any vegetable gardens and I wanted to create a vegetable garden from scratch, if I wanted to start growing vegetables fast, okay, without, all the stuff I do these days, I would have no hesitation in just getting some manure, some hay, some alfalfa hay, because it's high in nitrogen, calcium and potassium in particular. It's really mineral rich type of hay. It's really good for growing vegetables, and I would have no hesitation just in digging that in, like unbroken down, into the soil and then growing in that soil, okay? Because over the few months when you're watering the soil with the plants, that manure and hay will break down rapidly in the soil, okay, and provide nutrition to the vegetables as they grow, okay. But because I've been doing this for quite a few years now, I just don't need to do that because I'm kind of ahead of the game now, okay. So anyway, so when I use vegetable scraps, so I've actually, in this bed here, right, basically full of vegetable scraps. All I do is I just find a part of my vegetable garden that I'm not growing in at the moment, and I just dig a hole and I just get my bucket of vegetable scraps and I put them in the hole, and then I cover them up. You can see that the dog sometimes digs up the vegetable scraps, okay, and sees what he can eat. Like this garden here, all it's got in it is vegetable scraps, okay? I filled it up with vegetable scraps for a few months last year, let them break down, and look how beautiful everything is growing there. Just magnificent. So anyway, I might put vegetable scraps in here for maybe another month or so, and then I'll just let it break down. It'll probably take about 2 months to break down, okay? Just as it is, I don't water it or anything. The drier it is, the longer it takes to break down, but it just breaks down because the vegetable scraps are moisture rich in themselves, okay? So, they just break down by themselves. And actually, the other thing I don't normally use, but the neighbour was raking up this, the other day. It's got manure. Oh, sorry, that's iodine. Anyway, it's got manure, grass, leaves, and I said, what are you going to do with that? I said, I'm going to burn it. I said, I'll take it and just put it in my garden. So I've also got that, and I'm going to dig that into the soil too, okay? Or as I'm digging in the vegetable scraps, that'll get dug in too, okay? Anyway, but back to the other way I do things is where I use lucerne, manure and wood chips, okay? So what I do is, somewhere where I'm not planting at the moment, okay, just like where I'm putting vegetable scraps in a part of the garden that I'm not using at the moment, in other parts of my garden I'm not using, okay, I will put, I'll show you. Okay, so here I've just finished growing stuff in here. So the other day I put down a layer of wood chips, okay, and then a layer of horse manure, okay, and then here a while ago now, see, I just done this layer of lucerne hay or alfalfa, okay, but generally what I will do then on top of that manure, I will put a layer of hay, okay, alright, and then I use the dish water just for washing my dishes. I don't use any detergents, I don't consume oils, so I can easily just rinse all my plates and stuff, and I've got a lot of just water left over, and so I put that into buckets, and then what I do is in these piles in the garden where I've got, I suppose you call it compost, I just put the water on it, and then like I said, when it's moist, when all the wood chips and the manure and hay get moist, the worms come up into it and they start breaking it down, okay, so that it's kind of like in situ composting, because you know I just too lazy to like put you know all this stuff in a pile somewhere and turn it and do all that, just too hard. And this works great, okay, and you know where I just put it into the garden where I'm not gardening at the moment, okay, so like this will sit for maybe 3 months or 4 months, and then it'll be all nice and fairly, not entirely broken down, but you know, more broken down and easy to dig into the soil. And I'll show you where I've done that, okay, where I've dug all this into the soil, and now it's ready to plant, okay? Or I'll show you where I'm in the process of digging into the soil, and I'll show you other parts of the garden where it's been dug into the soil where I'm just about to plant. So this is a place where I have had the wood chips, the manure and the hay sitting over the winter time, and I'm just in the process of digging into the soil now. So I just get my trusty fork and give it some elbow grease, just dig it all in, and there's heaps of worms in here, so they're busy breaking down. You can see there's a worm. And then once I've done that, once I've dug it all in, okay, and it digs in fairly easily, and as you can see it's not completely broken down, but tell you what, it's going to grow amazing vegetables. It doesn't need to be entirely broken down, okay? It's still, like I said, over the months, as you're growing vegetables in it, the manure and the hay and the wood chips break down more and continue to provide nutrition to the soil, and you know there's already enough in the soil for the vegetables to grow beautifully, and also all of this stuff adds good aeration and moisture holding characteristics to the soil, okay? So this is one little part of my garden bed where, see, I've just finished digging in the manure, the hay and the wood chips, and this is ready to plant in. But what I will do before I plant in this is I will put a layer of hay over the top, or so it acts as mulch to protect the soil from being dried out over the summertime, okay? So you can see how the soil looks when, look at those worms. You can see how that one's just gotten injured. Ooh. Anyway, you can see how the soil looks once it's got all the stuff dug through it. It's beautiful, and like you think, oh, that's too much hay, but it's really not, eh? It's just great. It's just fantastic. And so here, like I said, all this is being prepared, and now all this soil is being prepared. See, underneath, see, that's all got the manure, the hay and the wood chips in it. And then now I've just put, like I said, that layer of lucerne hay over the top, and over the course of growing vegetables in this lucerne hay will break down and add more nutrition to the soil as well, okay? And this is an example of where I have done this technique, where I've had it in, see the wood chips, the manure and the hay, see, not totally broken down, and look at the beautiful nature of those bloody leaves. Look, they're so shiny and thick and strong, so thick and strong, just gorgeous. And those lettuces are just so thick and strong and healthy. See how effective that technique is? Great, isn't it? Okay. And here's another example. This is a little bathtub that I used. Last year I grew Egyptian spinach in here in the summer. I'm not sure what I'll grow in this summer, but see, look, again, this is bordering line too much hay in here, but it'll still grow fantastic vegetables. Again, it's just dug in, ready to go. I'll just put a layer of hay over this to reduce the evaporation, and it'll be good to plant in. Really, really rich, fertile, yummy soil. I also just want to add that I end up building so much soil this way that I actually have enough then to use in my pot. So I'll just take from my vegetable garden, and then I'll just, just take it and I'll just put it in my pots. And these pots will grow beautiful. I'm actually going to grow beautiful greens in here in the summertime. My dog, she likes to bury her bones in the pots. So anyway, yeah, so that's how I do it. So, okay, well, I hope this has been interesting for you, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.